Hi guys! So today's video is going to be completely different and it's a new segment that I'm going to start doing and it's called All About the Stars. And it's just going to be a rapid fire of different astrology that we have and a different astrology that I have seen in people. So this is very experimental, meaning, I'm not the only one who's doing this. It's basically me giving you the observations based on the astrology placements and how they interact on the people around me and the readings that I've done. I'm not gonna disclose any personal information. I'm talking in general. I'm talking for the things that I've seen. This is not a specific about anybody, but it is about people that I have done readings and that I have seen. It's so interesting how everybody sees the world from a different line and a different perspective, and we don't really see that. We tend to step into conversations trying to prove our point, trying to prove that we're right and somebody's wrong. But it's just so interesting when I explain people how their signs work and how they interact and what's causing and what they come from, like their thinking come from, and how people take that and interpret and analyze in a way that makes sense for them based on their signs and their Mars and so many things. So that's why I wanted to have this video. Let's get started and get into it because I'm going to speak very fast and it's going to be very general. So I'm going to put a disclaimer on the base on the video. If you don't feel connected, if you don't feel this applies to you, that's normal. Everybody's astrology is very different. Everybody's astrology interact with themselves very differently. And remember, astrology is not only your birth chart and the placements you have when you were born. Astrology still applies and it's still moving, and the planets are still out there causing and creating different interactions. Now, I think and I have seen and I believe that people who doesn't have Scorpio placements usually tend to misunderstand the and be very misunderstanding of the Scorpio energy. Mostly astrologers and this might get me in trouble, this might not, but mostly astrologers who don't have Scorpio placements. I can tell the difference when you have a Scorpio and that person is talking about Scorpions and when they don't. Scorpios are very intricate and they see the world in a different perspective because they don't see, they feel. The Scorpio energy is all about feeling, how you make them feel, how the undercurrents and everything that goes, the Scorpios can sense it. That's why Scorpios can see when you're lying to them. They can sense the lies. Mostly if you have a Mercury in Scorpio, don't even try it. Don't even try getting into an arguments with them about the truth because they know the truth. They not gonna come to you to confirm that. They already know it. They don't need you to confirm that. So it's very, I feel it's so interesting, the Scorpio energy, and it gets misunderstood by the interpretation that it comes with it. It's not only Scorpio, but all the water signs is about control. Anybody with water sign placements and water placements, they need to be careful with that because you always gonna have an issue with control. You either controlling somebody, emotion, situation, things, and then to even water signs, a Scorpio kind of they see the undercurrent, but just as all the signs, it has a shadow sometimes that is it tends to get misinterpreted. So for Scorpios, what I recommend to Scorpios is for that intensity and that side of you that you have a hard time coping with and people have a hard time coping with, it needs a lot of shadow work. You need to focus on shadow work and in building on those things. And cancers is all about control. They need to have control about people. They need to have control about situations, and they feel uncomfortable when they're out of that nature. But at the same time, they're very nurturing. So it's hard sometimes because cancers are mostly seen as somebody who's are weak, but it's the completely opposite. It's just the protectiveness and the energy that cancer brings is very soft, and they're so much into their feelings, and they are able to sometimes to understand people's feelings to some extent that they become those feelings. So they need to be very careful at that, and this applies, I think, to all the water signs. How we are raised also can affect that. So be mindful of that. Any water placements, issues with control, fire placements, and fire placements are usually going to be the equal Aries energy. Aries are very quick to make and very fiery just because they're fire signs. But Aries and any fire placements needs an outlet. And when I say it's an outlet, if you have a fire placement, if you have a fire rising, if you have a fire sun, if you know what I mean or you don't know what I mean, that's a different video I will have to do for people who don't know their birth charts and how to see their natal chart. But if you know and if you have one, make sure that you go and see your Mars placements, because Aries energy needs release. You guys need to, sometimes depending on your Mars, you're gonna need the physical release. If you have those suns or risings or maybe Mars in fire signs, you're going to have to release that energy because there's so much going on that when you move, things clear up. You make space for more things, but it depends for you. But if you have a, it depends for you. If you have a water fire sign, make sure that you're looking at your Mars, because your Mars is gonna give you what is gonna help you release that energy. It's the same if you have a lot of air in your birth chart. If you have a lot of air placements, you need the release because it's going to turn into just the fog. It's going to be mental fog. You're not gonna be able to see. You're not gonna be able to see and act clearly because you're thinking to so many things and you think about it so much that you don't come to a conclusion. So what do you need? You need the movement. Air signs need movement depending on how it's interacting with their Mars. Earth signs, careful about the perfectionism. Virgos mostly. If you have a lot of Virgo, if you see yourself being too critical to those around you, I recommend to Earth signs to always keep an eye on the way that you're saying things, because Earth signs, sometimes I feel so much about fixing and about getting things done and about getting them in a certain way, and that's fine. I love that energy. Me myself, I have a lot of Virgo, but the way that sometimes, and specifically Virgos, give love is pointing out what other ones are doing wrong. People don't, some people might like it, some people might not like that. So my advice specifically for Virgos is keep an eye on the way that sometimes you communicate with people, because your love language is pointing out and correcting people and making sure things are done perfect and pointing out when they're not. And for some others, that's just criticizing. So perspective theirs can be affected because sometimes Virgos, yeah, too critical, but it's just the energy that that's how they give love. They want you to be so good at it. They want you to be perfect. They want you to everything to go good for you. And if you're not doing it right, and a Virgo sees that there's an easier way, there's another way to do it, they're gonna be pointing out those ways all the time, and people around them might get hurt because they don't like it. Now, Gemini's and Libras, and I was talking about it with one of my best friends, because we both like astrology, and I'm going to. I don't know if it makes sense. It might make sense for me. It might not make sense for you guys, but Gemini has the different energy from the Libra, and sometimes people have a hard time with this. Libras are the people who see the balance. They want to see, they see both sides and they weigh both options, but it comes to a point that they think about it so much that since they weigh it so much and they see one side and they see the other, they cannot make a decision. They have a hard time making a decision because they want to keep the peace. Now, when we come to the Geminis, Geminis are completely different. Yes, they might have things in common, but it's not the same energy. Geminis have a hard time when it comes of seeing the two sides. They see the two sides, but then they need to choose. They cannot be two truths at the same time. That's how I interpret Gemini energy. They either feel good one day and they're gonna be good the entire day, or they either decide is bad and that's it. It's bad the entire day, and that's how I see the difference, like between them two. While the Libra wants to focus on, okay, so this one is good because this and this and this one is good because of this and this. So how do I choose in a way that is gonna benefit everybody so we can beat the peace, the fairness for everybody? That's what Libra focus on, the peace. And the shadow side of the Libra is that becomes people pleasers. It comes to a point that you want to please everybody and weigh the oceans too much because you want to benefit anyone, that you cannot choose. Now, the Geminis, in the other hand, how I see and I feel the energy, the Gemini energy is they get to pick. They get to pick, either are going to show you this side of them and this is who they are, but the other side stay hidden. And then one day and then something happens, you get to see that side. But they choose. It's either I woke up today and I'm gonna have a good day and I'm having a good day because X, Y, and Z reason, and they're gonna stay within that humor the whole day, or is I'm going to have a horrible day and everybody else well is going to have a horrible day because X, Y, B, and C reason. But they get to pick. I don't know if it makes if I'm explaining it or it makes sense to you, but that's how I see both signs and how they differ from each other. I have also heard a lot of people making comments about Geminis being indecisive, which Libra also has. So I feel sometimes those two energy gets confused, and I feel that's the thing. Sometimes Geminis have a hard time choosing or understanding because it's an air sign, and air energy tends to be very mental, meaning they want to find a way of understanding and explaining how they want to feel book wise. And my people with water signs, sometimes feelings are not like that. Sometimes feelings are meant to be feel. And I feel that that's where the indecisiveness of the Geminis come from. Sometimes with the Libra too, but the Libra is different. Libras weigh things too much. And this is me talking to myself. And this is a lot of the signs and the comments I'm making is placements that I have. So trust me, I know how it feels, and I hope this video kind of help you guys understand yourself, make sense to the things that you sometimes cannot make sense of because of the nature of life. We sometimes don't even get teach how to process feelings. We don't get teach how to get out of our head when we are spending too much time thinking. And I feel astrology helps with that, and kind of that's that was the reason why I got into astrology, wanting to understand myself more, and it has helped me a lot because the zodiac signs, yes, give you the flavor of it, but what really kind of put you into perspective is the houses. So knowing your natal chart makes a hell of a difference when it comes to life. I feel your natal, I feel our natal chart is what it gets given to us to navigate life and to see life and to work through life and through the different phases we're gonna go through, because that's what astrology is. You get to know more about astrology and you get to understand the idea of the light and the shadow side. You're always going to get that in astrology. Nothing is completely amazing and nothing is completely bad per se. So that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you guys enjoy. It's very different from my videos before. I have make videos talking about astrology, but not like this one. Not the ones that I focus more on the zodiac signs, and this is not very organized. This is more of a rapid fire of observations that I have seen in different zodiac signs and how the energies interact with each other. I hope you guys like it. Please leave in the comments if you would like for this video to be more organized. If to you want me to talk and answer questions, maybe if you guys have questions, leave it in the comments and maybe I'll make a video answering those questions. I think that will make it easier, because what I have noticed is many astrologers take this observations and these themes, and the way that they explain it is very technical, meaning another astrologers can understand it, but regular people that don't know anything about astrology might be very confused. Oh yeah, they for sure will be confused, because even for me, when I was new to it, there was so many concepts, and still to today I don't think that I know it all. I feel every day I am learning something new when it comes to astrology, and the energy gets interpret very different. Like even me, this is a process that we all go through when it comes to astrology, and we are experiencing differently, but we are here to help each other. And that's why I want to include astrology in the channel, so everybody gets to get this and experience this with me. So I hope you guys like it, and I'll see you the next video.